Guten Tag, mein Freund, and welcome back to celebrating my heritage here at Walt Disney World. If you couldn't tell by my opening statement, today we're going to take a look into another big part of my heritage, and that is from Germany. So of course, to do that, we have to go back to Epcot, back to World Showcase, to Deutschland. And on our way, I'll give you a little rundown as to the heritage of my family that comes from Germany. So here is a brief rundown, or rather the Germanic history of my family. It all dates, well, most of it dates back anyway, to my great-great-grandfather, Jacob Heil, who came to America during the Revolutionary War, somewhere between 1777 and 1782. During the war, of course, we all know Great Britain hired approximately 30,000 German soldiers called Hessians to fight against the American rebels. These soldiers came from various German territories within what used to be the Holy Roman Empire. They fought alongside the British forces in key battles, of course. Jacob then settled in what is now known as Lycoming County, Williamsport, Pennsylvania after the war, changing his name from Heil to the more commonly known Hill. Now, much of our family is still up in that Virginia area to this very day. Alright, we have entered World Showcase and we're almost to our destination. We gotta pass through a couple more countries. Now, when you think of Germany, aside from that unfortunate gap of history in the early 20th century, what do you think about? Oh, of course, think about food and drink. And once we get to our destination, we're going to explore just a little bit of what all that has to offer. Now, when it comes to German cuisine, more importantly, sweet treats. There's one that spans the world over and has become quite a favorite among the wizened, scholarly demographic of people. And that, of course, good old Werther's Original. That is really good. But wait, there's more. When it comes to good beverage, nothing really stands out better than good old classic stuff. A pint. A good old, well, it's a mug. Now, of course, between wood and metal and pewter, such devices have been used for centuries. But it is said and believed the Deutschlanders who came up with the concept of putting a lid on it. Thus, the beer stein.
That's a great idea.
There's a reason why the lid caught on, which is why many other countries and cultures still use it today. So, of course, here in the shop, there are plenty of options to choose from. Here's a baby one. I really like this one. This one's really cool. I think I'll get it. Oh my gosh. Little beer stein toothpick holders. Focus. Beer stein toothpick holders. And those are cool. You can get the full-size one too. Some of y'all know I come from a minister's family. So something like this, I think just fits in my family. You know what? Yeah. This is, you know what springs to mind?
You have chosen
Although I'm not so wild about that price.
Holy shoot!
I don't know. I might have to rethink that. It's really cool. Each of these depicts a different scene. Really cool. How much is this one? Same price. Okay. Okay, so I got a little something. Now it is said, and I'm not entirely certain if this is the case, but it is said that the Deutschland portion of World Showcase is built in such a way that mirrors the eastern side of Germany and the western side of Germany. I'm not entirely certain how factual that is, but it's a pretty cool little tidbit. Alrighty, so I found a little. Why is my camera sinking to the floor? There. Now, found a little quiet spot out here. So I'll give you just a little bit more as to the Deutschland area of World Showcase. Perhaps some of you all know, in my family, in my immediate family, we have a German Shepherd. Yes, there he is. Sweet boy. So, while the conflict and everything was happening across the eastern and western sides of Germany, the types of dog breeds that they had reflected the conflict. So, on the western side, they bred dogs who were immensely athletic, very fast, swift, powerful dogs, meant for, well, herding sheep and chasing down wild dogs and all of that. Now, over on the eastern side, they bred dogs in a similar fashion, but they bred them to be bigger, bulkier, beefier. Also, on the eastern side, it's a lot colder, so they're a lot floofier as a result. Now, our dog, Hawkeye, is definitely of that lean machine western line German Shepherd, and we love him to bits. He's very nice. But the eastern side, German type variety Shepherd, you see that bigger, bulkier, beefier type dog. And of course, they were meant to stand on the border and be a deterrent for not just other wild animals, but let's face it, also people, which is an unfortunate use of the dog breed, but it's one that we must take into account. Let's go and dive into some of the other reasons why Germany has been so influential. Now, as a cultural significance, Germany is responsible for a lot of musical taste that we enjoy all the way up to this modern day, through lively folk music, as well as even the more prim and proper classical music. Of course, I'm referring to composers such as Ludwig van Beethoven, who gave us so many great and wonderful works, including the Ode to Joy, but also, probably more infamously, his Fifth Symphony. It's one of my favorite works of classical music ever, as I am an avid enjoyer of classical music. It is also an inspiration for one of my favorite movie music composers. That, of course, is John Williams. He pulls a lot of his musical cues from classical music, including, not limited to necessarily, Ludwig van Beethoven, and of course, which is perhaps one of his most infamous movie pieces of all time, the Imperial March. Now, you're thinking, oh, well, what does that have to do with classical music? Well, you take Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and you compare notes to the Imperial March, and you realize it's the same, well, not the same, very similar. It's very similar notes, just a little bit of a different rhythm. But the notes convey a very looming presence, and that, of course, we get out of Darth Vader. And of course, we owe all of that to Beethoven and many, many other such composers, all, well, not all, but most of which came from Germany. Now, aside from the cultural significance that Germany plays in a lot of our modern day thinking and a lot of our musical taste, the culinary experience also lends itself greatly to our modern day eating and drinking, particularly here in the West. Go away. As we saw inside there, the beer stein has quickly become a very significant cultural piece in the West. Now, of course, it was Germany who came up with the idea, I think, to put a lid on it. But aside from beer, which of course in my family we don't really drink, so I probably won't be sampling many today. Although I do know where I work in Disney's Animal Kingdom, we sell a very, what I'm told is a delectable German delight, Schafferhofer, Gesundheit. No, I mean Schafferhofer, the beer. Again, Gesundheit. Now, of course, I mean Schafferhofer, which is a grapefruit variety of beer coming from Germany. It is enjoyed all over the Walt Disney World property. Of course, to other sorts of foods and whatnot, even down to the very simplest of foods, and that is good old bread. Of course, you must know I'm talking about pretzels. There's a long-standing tradition to have pretzels and beer cheese as a snack. And of course, here in World Showcase, Disney World, we are able to enjoy just such a delicacy. Now, of course, there is a full-fledged restaurant here inside the World Showcase Germany Pavilion, but I'm a little broke this week, so I'm not going to be able to go enjoy a full meal. So I figured a snack will do. But it comes down to the pretzel. And there's a little bit of history that some people may or may not know, and I'm not even sure if this is completely accurate. But scholars have studied this, and some sources say that around the year 670 AD, there was a monk who wanted to teach his pupils a little bit about prayer. So he took some bread dough and rolled it out really thin and twisted it around another piece of rolled out bread dough, twisted it into such a shape that it resembled hands praying. I'm not entirely certain how that's the case here, but such is the overall thought of where the pretzel originates. Now, of course, these here in World Showcase are made fresh daily. Boy, are they good. With the birth of the pretzel being such a simplistic piece of bread to prepare, it eventually traveled all throughout the world and has come down to what we understand is a very, very delightful snack. So while we were inside, I took the liberty of getting a little something. Now, Artina is a group renownedly known for their incredible craftsmanship in drinking vessels. And I picked up a little set here. Saw all the little bitty cups and everything that they had inside. And I might go in later and pick up another one or two. I got me a set of these. Isn't it cute? So, this came as a set of 2 toothpick holders, not shot glasses.
Oh, dang.
But it's a really, really nice little piece. I suppose it could help for measuring out cough syrup whenever I'm sick. Now, normally here in World Showcase at each of the countries, they have groups of live performers that will come out intermittently. Like we saw when I did my ancestral Mexican heritage video, we saw the mariachi band and all that. However, you probably couldn't tell, these clouds rolling in behind me are getting darker and darker by the minute. So we may not see any live entertainment out here today, which is a darn.
Okay, I was wrong. They did bring up the live entertainment. Let's go.
thank you very much for joining me on this little slice of my heritage today. And I will encourage you to go check out our Mexican heritage video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching me explore my heritage here at Walt Disney World through the various places around World Showcase. Please do leave a like, be sure to comment, and subscribe to our channel. And let me know if there's anything else you want to see from me as I complete my Disney College program down here in Orlando, Florida. Signing off for today, I was to say, goodbye.
Worlds collide and hearts unite with stories we all know. Every smile, a spark of light, a tale we'll always share. Magic in the air tonight, it's everywhere.